Now,
Hello, now we're live. Yes.
now we're live. And in case you are wondering, look at my t-shirt. I just said I'm with yellow today because we are Solutions Academy and we are back.
Your audio is very scraggly, I'm sorry to say.
Now better? I'm trying to stay still here and just see. It's clearly that we're live.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, Kirsten, is that you'll have to talk.
No, no,
But
no,
I
that's
think we
better.
planned
It's
with
better.
that.
It
It's
was
better.
just breaking up. Okay. We're great.
Okay, so technical check done. We're good to go. What else we've checked before is we have a topic for today. It's a continuation of the bit of the conversation that we had last time. Yes, we are kind of like we are done with the ICF core competences. If you're wondering what we have been discussing around them and how can those ones reflect in the appraisal or in the evaluation, performance evaluation, go back either to the small videos being left on the pages of Solutions Academy. No, I'm with yellow today. Or on the YouTube channel, you'll find a complete playlist, so it makes it easier for you just to listen to the full playlist. Yes, we will move on to the standards, to the core standards of EMCC, and we'll do that starting with the 9th of January, as we'll give you a bit of a break so you can use that time for reflective practice. As we're talking about EMCC, that's the nice connection to it. Today, we've picked up on a conversation from last time when we said, yeah, there's a couple of cultural and diversity, inclusion. There's a lot of elements that come together, especially when we were looking at core competency 8. So that's where we would like to invite you to move or open this space and open this search space today and look at diversity and inclusion, look at the season that we are currently in. And Kirsten, I know that there's plenty of elements that you've looked at, and there's a lot of things that you can bring also from the perspective of books research and your own thoughts and examples. So I would like to invite you today to just use this space to see where the conversation takes us, to just have a bit of just a tiny bit of the structure, like the start and the end of it. So like 10-15 minutes, and between it, I think I would really appreciate if we can have a glimpse into what is your perception of diversity and inclusion and how is that linked with coaching. And besides that, if there's any questions for anyone listening, being curious what we're bringing in today, put them in there, put them in the chat, put them in any of the social media channels, either on LinkedIn or on Facebook. And there on LinkedIn, Deepa is again with us. So great. If you have any questions or thoughts, put them in there and we'll incorporate them in our conversation. Now, I'll leave it to you. How do you look at diversity and inclusion, Kirsten?
Well, actually, it's maybe not not yeah, it's maybe not about diversity and inclusion per se, but about culture and coaching. And do you adapt your coaching to different cultures? Do you not adapt your coaching to different cultures? And I think what I would like to start with is that trying to be super culturally aware and preempting someone's culture without interacting with them, I think can be a trap in coaching. So there was a study done. I don't remember the exact. I just remember that I've seen that study, but I looked at it and I couldn't find it again. So please, I'm sorry, but it made intuitive sense to me. They had 20 Americans and they trained 10 Americans in Japanese business etiquette, and 10 Americans were not trained in Japanese business etiquette. And then they got 20 Japanese people to interact with them in a party type situation or in a meeting, and then the Japanese would rate how nice, friendly, whatever they thought the Americans were. 10 Americans trained, 10 untrained. And ta-da, the untrained ones were rated much, much higher. So if any of you are aware of this, can find the study, please let me know because I lost it. it did make intuitive sense to me, in the sense of, if we as coaches start analyzing the culture of a person that is from a different culture than us, and we then don't interact with the person, but we're interacting with our idea of the person, I think, whoa, this can go really, 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 really wrong. So if cultural awareness is inviting us to be external to the coaching conversation, I really don't think it's a good idea, because I just think that we are always partnering with our clients, and it doesn't matter which culture they're coming from. It's always a matter of co-creation. So I don't think you should read. I mean, it's always fun to read about other cultures, but don't let it cloud you to the fact that you're dealing with a unique individual. You might have someone who is an engineer from India who is much closer to a German engineer, because they're both engineers, than if you're talking, or a ballet dancer from New York City probably has more in common with a ballet dancer from Indonesia, because they're both in that kind of local culture, and in that, or not local, in that dancing professional culture.
Yeah,
And
they have something in common.
They have something in common. So the first thing is, don't let what you think you know about a certain culture cloud your judgment, and don't let it create tons of assumptions in you that actually hinder the coaching relationship. I think if you are able to sustain a relationship with a person from a different, who are different from you, you are showing what is called tolerance of ambiguity. And tolerance of ambiguity is the one big predictor of intercultural success. And what do we do as coaches all day? We are dealing with the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And as Deepa is now saying, the coaching hat comes of space of being non-judgmental and non-opinionated. Exactly. So all of that cultural knowledge can just be the spice. It can be something that can lead you to try and not offend someone inadvertently. But even, we cannot not offend. So I think what we can use our cultural knowledge for is to be a little bit more tentative. So if we know, let's say our client is from a very religious family in the United States, and our language probably includes some colorful swear words. Yeah, we might not use that with our client, but we need to test. We need to say, oh, okay, I almost just said this. You don't have to say the word. Are you okay with swear words, or would you rather not me not using them? So we do have to adapt our language, but in cooperation with our client, and not with the assumptions. So let's respond to the person in front of us, and let's not respond to our idea of the person in front of us. I think that is what I'm saying. And yeah, go, Christina.
I was just caught this sentence of saying being responding to the person in front of us, and not to the person that we think it's in front of us, or that we assume it's in front of us. And I think that's relevant even if we are from the same culture. Because I think also in that case of saying, well, if I talk to a Romanian, well, I know how Romanians are. I'm born in Bucharest. I should know that. And at the same time, I'm already creating assumptions. I don't know anything about their background. I don't know anything about who they are and what kind of stories shape them to who they are right now and how they will be molded in the future. So I think that's also valid, same culture.
And I think our attitude of not knowing and our attitude of appreciation, our attitude of accepting where the person is and who the person is also very good for any kind of intercultural competence. So if we take our coaching stance very, very seriously, we shouldn't really be having a lot of intercultural issues, because we are agile, adaptable to whomever we are coaching, and we're co-creating the relationship, and we are able to navigate with our client how the client would like to be coached. So if someone is completely different from us, then it might make even more sense at the end of the session to ask what made the session right for you. What are some of the things that we could be doing differently? And then you will be able to adapt your coaching style to whomever you are coaching in this moment. Another discussion point that I would like to raise is there Western coaching, Eastern coaching, Islamic coaching, Jewish coaching? You know, as we are entering in this phase. I think today was the first day of Hanukkah, if I'm not mistaken, and then we have Christmas, and then we have Chinese New Year, and we have like tons of festivities around this month. So should we write books about how to generally adapt? And I'm in two minds about it. I talked to Christian van Nieuwenburg, who co-authored a book with Raja, I forgot her last name, so forgive me, Raja, from Saudi Arabia, on coaching in the Islamic world and coaching in the Near East. So yeah, and I learned a lot by reading, because Christian and Raja made some connection between Islamic theology and coaching. And that I found very interesting, because it opened my mind to, okay. And I wrote a blog post on, I think nikah was the word, like on your intention. So intention is a very important word, apparently. I'm not a specialist, but so I think knowing a little bit what may be important is something that we can learn a lot for ourselves. So I think it really opened my eyes to some things, but at the same time, I wouldn't, if I meet someone from the Middle East, I wouldn't assume that this is where they're coming from. The same with coaching in different languages, or in different cultures. Like, this is how you coach a US American. You always have to say, wow, yeah, amazing. No, you know, you may know that the American way, or the US American way of speaking, is a little bit more enthusiastic than, let's say, a Finnish. But you may dealing with a Finnish person who's lived in America all their life, and they're super exuberant. So basically what I'm saying is, drop your stereotypes.
At the door.
Yeah, just leave them, suspend your judgment. Like, you have this hook, put them there for the time being, and still take the beautiful diversity of systems of thought, of spirituality, of how people create meaning for themselves. Take this world as an inspiration to reflect on what you believe, and there's so much value found in so many different traditions that I would encourage everyone to learn, but without putting people in boxes. I don't know, maybe this is trite, but for me, it is very important.
I think I really love this part with putting people into boxes, not doing that, because I think it allows us to move, or it makes us move out of that state of ambiguity. And at the same time, I think now linking it back to coaching, I'm looking also, what comes to my mind is also this part of the moment when we engage in profiling. Take any of the assessment tools out there. Same thing I see with those ones as a risk. You can move into believing that's the only box that you can be fitted in, because that's the only thing that this profiling tool will allow it to say you are, whatever letters you want to use. And I think it's down to how do you move out of that? Meaning to say, yes, maybe I might be like this at this moment, but who do I want to be? Where do I want to get? How am I growing? How have I been growing until now? What have I learned from here? What do I want to take with me forward?
And Anton Stellemans from Belgium has alerted me to Levinas, the philosopher. And what I'm taking from here is that actually it is a violation if we are not engaging with the other person in a collaboration, but rather treat them as an object of analysis. So we should, I really think this is a should for me. We should not treat other people as an object. We always should be in collaboration and in treating each other like human beings and being a human being with other human beings. Last year I did a podcast on coaching and Christmas. And there, Dave Hogan, who I interviewed, he's a pastor, he said, be good news to each other as the message of Christmas. And one of the messages of Christmas is of the divine becoming human. So seeing in the other person a reflection of the divine. I mean, you don't have to be Christian, but I think the message here is let's treat each other like subjects, like human beings, rather than as objects of our analysis.
And I think that's the step also forward. By the moment when you treat each other as subjects in comparison to objects, we also allow for that conversation to be a co-creative space where conversation truly emerges and it can move in any direction, because we don't put boxes to the person in front of us, hence assuming that's how they would act and react, but we accept that they're going to take decisions and we'll have to move and be flexible with those decisions and with those paths that emerge.
I think that's all I have to say, and we're at 17 minutes, so I'm sorry. Yeah. Excuse my ramblings.
No, but I think there's plenty of useful resources that emerge that we might try to collect them, add them in the comments of this conversation, and see what emerges for everyone else. And if there's any other thoughts that come to your mind, just put them in there. So I'll make a note of sharing your blog post, make a note of sharing that conversation that you had with Dave Hogan. It's the ICF podcast, the German ICF podcast, and I know it's somewhere in the link. And I think there was one more, an author that you got as a recommendation from Anton. So I'm going to
Levinas, yeah.
Pick your brain on that one and add all of those resources in there. Thank you very much, Kirsten, for this. Thank you very much for bringing your thoughts. And I'm still taking with me that thing of coach the person in front of you and not the assumptions that you have around that person in front of you. So see you on the 9th of January. We'll kick it off fresh and lovely on the EMCC core standards. That's the spirit for the next couple of weeks. And by the way, if anyone wants to join us at our, now that you put a hat on, to our not Christmas party, but
holiday
celebration.
Party.
Yeah.
Celebration of year end.
Yes. And a good moment and the things that we are proud of and they went well this year, do let us know. We'll send you a secret link so you can join us. It's this week on Wednesday. So
happy holidays, everybody. Bye-bye.